Blackstone Audio presents The Bishop's Wife by Mette Ivie Harrison. This book is read by Kirsten Potter. Chapter 1. Mormon bishop's wife isn't an official calling. Bishop's wife isn't a position listed on ward documents. There's no ceremonial laying on of hands or pronounced blessings from on high. But if the bishop is the father of the ward, the bishop's wife is the mother, and that meant there were 500 people who were under my care. I was used to the phone calls in the middle of the night, to the doorbell ringing far too late and far too early. I was used to being looked past, because I was never the person that they were there to see. This morning, at the 6:30 doorbell, I shook Kurt. "They'll be wanting the bishop," I said. I was already out of bed and putting on my robe. "I'll be there as soon as I can, Linda," he said sleepily. He hadn't been to bed before midnight last night, I was sure. I hurried downstairs, sure that something terrible had happened. It was late January in Draper, Utah, and as picturesque as the snow on the mountains was, it did not mix well with our modern lifestyle. My fear, as I stood hesitating at the door, was that someone was here to tell us that a teenager from the ward had skidded off the road and was on his way to the hospital. The doorbell rang again, and then the door was knocked on, impatiently. When I finally opened the door, I saw Jared Helm, one of the newer members of the ward, carrying his 5-year-old daughter, Kelly. She had curly blonde hair that always seemed messy, no matter how often it was combed. The remains of breakfast, oatmeal, were all over her chin. She was still in her pajamas, but she'd been bundled into an inside-out snowsuit. How her father had figured out how to get the zipper up without putting it on the right way around, I didn't know. "Can I see Bishop Wallheim?" asked Jared. Not an accident, then, I thought with relief. "Come in from the cold. He's awake, and he'll be down in a minute," I assured Jared. So would Samuel, the youngest of my 5 sons, who was a senior in high school. I could hear his alarm going off upstairs and knew he'd be rushing out the door soon. I led Jared and Kelly to the front room, where my neglected piano waited for me to practice. Mostly the room was used now for people waiting to go into Kurt's office. Jared Helm looked terribly strained, though he was well kempt. His hair was darker than his daughter's, but it was clear where she got the messy mop. His was wet now, the curls ruthlessly combed around a side part. He was dressed in a button-down...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?